Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from Labella Associates, dedicated to the pursuit of partnership for more than 40 years, offering services in the development of buildings, infrastructure, environmental, and energy projects. Labella, powered by partnership. LabellaPC.com. And Two Point Capital Management, an investment firm creating custom portfolios of stocks and bonds. Two Point is dedicated to helping people realize a life of meaning beyond the numbers. Two Point Capital Management, life opens up.
From WXXI News, this is Connections. I'm Evan Dawson. Our connection this hour will be made this spring, as many of us will be doing some spring cleaning. Chances are you'll come across something you don't need anymore, and you'll wonder if it's something that you should toss into the trash or recycle. Are there cans of paint in your shed? Are there big items in your garage? Our guests this hour are going to tell us recycling evolves over time. You may remember that until recently we couldn't recycle paper and plastic to-go cups in Monroe County, but those items are now part of the recycling program. And it gives me hope that someday I can put my strawberry clamshell containers in my recycling bin and not in the trash. I always feel terrible. Well, as part of WXXI's celebration of Earth Month on this Earth Day, we bring back two of our really popular guests. Well, certainly Mike Garland is... Do they give coats for how many times you've been on Connections, Mike Garland? You would have the Connections coat, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, good. That would be a great honor.
But you're just wearing a nice coat today here. We'll get Mike set up with that. It is a great chance to bring back the team that's going to talk to us from the Monroe County Department of Environmental Services. They're in studio. We want you to call. We want you to share your questions. Really anything recycling this hour. So the email, as always, connections@wxxi.org. Any item that you don't know if you can recycle, they will give you an answer. If you want to call the program and ask, 844-295-TALK, toll free. 844-295-8255. 263-WXXI if you call from Rochester. 263-9994. Or if you're watching on YouTube, jump on the chat there and put your question there. Mike Garland's the director of the Monroe County Department of Environmental Services. Welcome back to the program.
Happy Earth Day.
And welcome to Nicole Fornof, who's Waste Diversion and Education Coordinator for the department. Great to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
So you guys have brought some props here. So if you're watching on YouTube, as always, they come ready to go here. What's top of mind for you on this Earth Day, Mike Garland?
Well, you know, every day we do our part to protect our little slice of Earth Day here in Monroe County. And we've had some great advancements in our recycling stream, what residents can recycle. We've got some new information that we can share with dedicated recyclers here in our community about recycling right.
What's on your mind over there? What are you thinking on this Earth Day? What stands out?
Sure. So I think Earth Day is just a great time to think about what we can do in our own lives, our habits and decisions that we make, and how we can best conserve natural resources, reduce our energy and greenhouse gas emissions. And recycling is a really great way to do that, as is waste reduction and reuse. So we're just so happy to be here on Earth Day talking about this.
Well, let's start with what's new when it comes to what we can recycle. And you're going to tell me that the strawberry containers from Wegmans I still can't do.
Unfortunately.
Okay, but there are some changes here. New-ish. What do we got?
New-ish. And I'll let Nicole explain it in more detail, but it's really the addition of paper and plastic to-go cups. Big advancement for us. Advancements in the sorting technology, processing capability of the mills, and then the end markets, and that's what made it possible. We've got some props here in the studio.
So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm looking at a Dunkin'. There's a Chipotle in there. Would Starbucks be on the list now?
Sure would.
Starbucks could go in the recycling.
Finally.
Yes.
Oh my goodness gracious! You might save Starbucks, but that poor little corporation might survive now. All right, so you want to add to this one? How did this get done here?
Yeah, absolutely. So like Mike mentioned, it was really had to do with some changes in the end market demand for these materials, as well as the sorting capacity at our recycling center. So paper cups, historically that plastic lining was cited as an impediment to recycling. The paper cups are about 95% paper, 5% plastic lining. There's really been a lot of advancements in paper mills and their ability to have the technology to properly separate those materials. There's also been a decline in the amount of paper that paper mills process now, just with the decline in office and newsprint. So it actually increased the demand for this high-grade white paper fibers in paper cups. So there's increased demand, better processing capacity, and same thing with the clear plastic cups. The recyclers want this. It's a high value commodity. WM also invested in optical scanning, a really high tech sorting infrastructure at our recycling center that was able to help properly sort these at our recycling center. So that's kind of what changed and brought about this advancement.
And sometimes you'll see the paper or cardboard sleeves on there. You can leave those on. Is that correct? Yeah?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. So those can stay on. And attached to this question of how to do this, because if you're watching on YouTube, those are beautifully clean cups here. And here's a really good question from Jeff. Jeff called in to ask the following. He says, I've heard both sides argued. Do the items in recycling and waste, dirt, debris damage or ruin the entire batch, or do the recyclers clean the products regardless? I've seen a lot of wasted water and excessive amounts of soap used to spotlessly clean plastic items so they can be recycled. So, what's the school of thought on how much you need to clean your items before they're in the recycling bin? Let's be general first, and then we'll talk about these. But in general, how much are you cleaning before you put in your bin?
Sure. So clean does not mean spotless. We don't want any food or liquid residue. Those are definitely big contaminants that can impact the recyclability of other, especially paper. So we want to keep our materials as clean and dry as possible. However, you don't need to, wash everything with a copious amount of water and soap. Just a quick rinse, a scrape sometimes with a spatula will get a lot out. So that's a way to avoid using water to, excessive water in cleaning.
I'm thinking of the pizza box conversations we've had, Mike.
That's right.
People always ask about pizza boxes, which you can recycle, but you don't want big, greasy pieces of pepperoni and cheese smeared on them.
That's right. That's right. You want to remove the food residue there, but if they're greasy, that's okay. That can be accepted in the recycling stream.
So sometimes you'll see those grease spots on the cardboard. That's okay.
Grease spots are okay.
You can
Yep,
still
just
put them in
remove the paper, the parchment paper, and then the food residue as well.
So even though we're looking at these cups in the studio, what about the colored plastic party cups, those red ones that we see in particular? What about those?
No to the solo type cups. They are lower quality plastic. There's not a viable end market for them. So really what we're looking for is clear and white plastic to-go cups. That's the type of plastic cup.
So the list I'm going to read from Monroe County on the no is no to the colored plastic party cups, like the Solo that was just mentioned by Nicole. No to plastic bags. No to black plastic. Compostable plastic. Foam egg cartons. No to foam egg
No
cartons.
go.
Okay. Coffee pods like K-cups.
No go.
Those have always been a no.
Yep, that's
as far
correct.
as I know.
That is
And they
correct.
are still a no.
We're still in Monroe County.
That's
yes.
a pretty big environmental cost, I would think. I mean, there's a lot of people who do kind of K-cups or those pods. But that's a no. That's got to go in the trash, right? Okay. No to straws?
No to straws. That is correct. Single use. Yep.
Still no to straws. And prescription bottles. That's on the no list. Is that right?
That's in the no list for your curbside recycling bin. We can accept those at the Eco Park. But again, those bottles may have a residue from medications. They may have personal information on there. So we recommend folks bring those to the Eco Park. And I know there's some other outlets in the community as well, too.
Okay. The other items we mentioned are trash, right? So when
That's
we
right.
talk about colored plastic party cups, trash.
Trash.
Plastic bags, trash.
Those plastic bags can go back to retailers or the Eco Park. So in the front of grocery stores, they have collection bins, and you can bring even Ziploc bags, cereal box liners, any type of plastic film that you can put your thumb through and it stretches. That plastic wrap can actually be recycled back at retailers, just not in your curbside bin.
Okay. Foam egg cartons, trash, or that's it, right? So foam egg cartons are...
Yes,
There's
foam
no
egg
Eco
cartons.
Park. You can't take those to Eco Park.
No, Eco
That's
Park
correct.
accepts bulky white packing foam. That's the one type of styrofoam that we're able to collect and recycle at Eco Park. Other types of food foam are not recyclable. So if you can't come up with a reuse alternative for them, they would be trash.
And the coffee pods can't go to the Eco Park either?
They cannot go to the Eco Park. That is correct.
They're going in the trash.
They're going in the trash. I don't know if there's outlets developed where people can mail back.
Yeah, there are some manufacturer take-back programs. I think Nespresso has one. So depending on what type of coffee pod you use, there may be a manufacturer take-back program.
Did you see the email, producer Megan Mack? There's like a dozen that just popped. Okay, so here's what we'll do. We're going to work through their list. You remember the Dirty Dozen that Mike Garland has? We got a new kind of a Dirty Dozen. What do you got?
We sure do. And Nicole developed this. It's exceptional. We think this will be a great guide for residents. We want to keep it simple, and we know folks have a lot of questions. So again, we want folks to recycle right. There's outlets here in our community, whether it's at curbside recycling, at the eco park, or if it has to go into the trash. But again, we want to divert as much material as we can from the landfill.
So there's the stop. Do not put in mixed recycling. So that's in the red light. The yellow light is slow, recyclable, but needs preparation. And the go, recycle when clean and empty. And what was interesting to me looking at this list, guys, was on the slow, on the yellow, the paper bags, you're supposed to cut the handles on the paper bags. I definitely have not done that.
Sure, and this is new. These, especially the slow yellow light items, we came up with these recently with WM, who operates our recycling center. Some of the items that they're seeing that are ending up as tanglers. The sorting equipment at the recycling center has rotating gears. It used to be plastic bags would get caught in those. With the switch to paper bags, they're not getting caught as much, but sometimes those handles do tangle. So if you just give them a quick snip, that'll help. Also, that packing paper, same thing, long, tangling material. If you just break it up into smaller pieces, that really goes a long way to keeping our recycling center running smoothly. But these are kind of our pro recycler tips, these yellow light items. They're really, if you want to take the extra step to make sure these specific items are ending up in the right place, this is the preparation that's required. But if not, just stick to the basics, and that is still great too.
And the website, Mike Garland, monroecounty.gov/recycling, right?
That's right.
You can find this there.
You sure can.
So if you're watching on YouTube, I've got a piece of paper that everybody can print and put on your refrigerator. And this is the red, yellow, and green, the stop, slow, and go. They also... You guys brought like a big old size one here for the studio
prop,
here.
yeah.
So if you're watching on YouTube, you got this beautiful prop. So I think that's great. I think it will really help people there. So now, are you ready for some emails and phone calls here?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see if we can break a record this hour. How many questions can we get for these guys? Without discriminating, I'm going right down the list here. All right, Marcia. When I receive an envelope in the mail with multiple pieces of paper folded inside for recycling, do I lay each piece of paper flat in the bin and the envelope empty, or should I fold the papers, put them back in the envelope, and then put them in my recycling bin?
I love that question. I so appreciate how much care people give to their recycling here and their preparation. You wouldn't need to take it out. The equipment that sorts paper at our recycling center is called a paper magnet. So it's basically a vacuum behind a screen. It does need it to be pretty lightweight. You wouldn't want to recycle a whole book. That wouldn't make its way through the paper magnet. But an envelope with a couple pieces of paper, that's fine. That could go right in your recycling bin altogether.
Okay, very good. Marsh, good luck. Patrick, question on lamps. He said, let's say I had an old lamp made of glass, metal wire, fabric, paper shade. First of all, is there anything that can be done with that? Could that go to an eco park, or is that just ticketed for the trash?
Certainly the electronics and the electronic, or the metal and the electronic components can go to the eco park for sure. The glass would not be recyclable. The paper wouldn't be, or the lampshade itself would not be recyclable. It could be perhaps reused. In other words, if it's something that could be donated perhaps through Goodwill, if it's still in working order, or there's other outlets here in the community that might take that. Anything to add to that, Nicole?
Yeah, no, I think that's great.
Okay. And Patrick, if it's a major award, you might want to keep it. That's a movie reference for anybody. Somebody's going to tell me that they know the movie I'm referring to. But Patrick's also asking, if he just puts that in the recycling, what happens to it?
Oh, that would be if you were to put it in recycling, it would definitely be a contaminant. There would be a cost for the recycler, WM, to manage that. They'd have to likely send it to the landfill ultimately. And it could, if it got caught into the processing equipment, it could shut the whole process down because there's cords and other components that could create a real issue there. In fact, there's a great video at this website, monroecounty.gov recycling, that illustrates the whole recycling process. So Patrick could see, hey, if that lamp made its way in there, how could it hang up the process and potentially shut it down? I
was thinking, Mike, about the K-Cups too, because I'm sure people wish cycle.
Yes.
Where you just toss something in hoping it'll get. So if a K-cup goes into the process, what happens?
Well, it's very small. It would likely fall through the gears and end up in a residual waste. It could end up in our glass line as well, too, which we don't want. We've made great advancements with glass. Years ago, or not that long ago, a couple of years ago, our glass was going to the landfill. It was used for construction material and daily cover, so it had a purpose, but it was end of life for the glass. Now we have an outlet for that material. It's being recycled into fiberglass and other products. In 2025, we recycled 100% of glass that we received at the recycling center. So if someone were to get a copy of Summer in a Glass and they were inspired to buy a nice Finger Lakes bottle of wine and they put it in the recycling bin, they can rest assured that it would make its way to be recycled properly.
That's very good news.
Yeah, it's great news. Yeah, it's a great advancement, just like the to-go cups.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Because I'm sure people put wine bottles from all over the world in their recycling every week. So very, very good to hear that. Let me grab a phone call here. This is Daniel in Rochester. Hey, Daniel, go ahead.
Hey, thanks. Quick question. What about batteries? I never know what to do with B cells, C cells, even the little ones that go in, watches and items that we use now. Do you gather them up and take them to Monroe County, dump site, or what do you do with them? I have no idea.
Okay, you want to hit that?
Yeah, absolutely. So batteries, it will depend on the type of battery. If it's a single-use alkaline battery, we do not accept that at Eco Park. However, Staples will take those for free recycling, so that's a great outlet for that. You can also go to either the Eco Park website or the Battery Network. That is actually the extended producer responsibility organization that handles batteries and rechargeable batteries. And there's a whole locator network there, so it'll tell you different stores where you can bring your button batteries and rechargeable batteries, places like Best Buy, Staples, and we also do take rechargeable and lithium-ion batteries at the Eco Park.
Okay. How's that do for you there, Daniel?
Car batteries?
Car batteries.
Car batteries. So lead acid batteries, you can return those to service stations or places like AutoZone. Any of the stores that sell them, they are required to take them back. You can even bring them to scrap metal recyclers, and they will likely pay you for them. So that's the best outlets for car batteries.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. Great questions. And by the way, we've mentioned the Eco Park a number of times here. I want to ask Mike a couple of questions to make sure that we all know what we're talking about, because we've got plenty of listeners who aren't in Monroe County, and their situation might be slightly different. But for those in Monroe County, they've got the Eco Park here.
That's right.
Number one, how do you access it? How do you sign up to go there?
Well, appointments are only required for household hazardous waste drop-offs. And we've got information online at monroecounty.gov/ecopark, where you can make a reservation for household hazardous waste drop-off. Everything else is self-serve. We're open Wednesday afternoons from 1 to 6:30 and Saturday mornings from 7:30 to 1. It's a partnership between WM and Monroe County, and it's intended to be a place where residents can go to bring recyclable and recoverable materials that are hard to dispose of properly, hard to manage properly, if you will. They're not acceptable in the curbside bin or in the trash, but it's an outlet for a growing list of materials that are recoverable and recyclable.
Okay. And you mentioned to Patrick that he had the question about the lamp.
Yes.
So if he brings the lamp to the Eco Park, knowing that parts of it can go through the park, can he just bring the lamp and you guys will handle it from there?
Yes, it is self-serve, so we ask folks if they have heavy pieces of, say, electronics, an old television, they bring someone with them to assist in offloading and placing that material in the proper location. But we advise residents who may be bringing materials. We're not sure which bin to bring it in. We have information there, based on the graphics that we have that should guide residents, but we're always there to help and point folks in the right direction.
All right, I see the phone ringing, and we'll get back to those phone calls in a second. Let me get Chris here, who says, I am not sure if they would know this answer, but my disposal company has one truck, and it picks up both of my totes, recycle and trash, and dumps it into the same part of the truck. Should I be horrified? That's from Chris. Nicole, you had a bit of a wry smile there.
So there is a certain type of collection vehicle called a dual compartment truck, and it may collect trash and recycling in the same truck, but within different compartments. If you're seeing your waste collection company put them in the same compartment, you're definitely going to want to reach out to them. You can also reach out to us at Monroe County's Department of Environmental Services, and that's something that we will follow up on as well because we do not want, if trash and recycling is commingled, there's not a facility where it'll later be sorted out. They need to be collected separately for proper processing.
Okay. And I'm thinking of, when you've got two different totes at home, you've got trash and maybe you've got like a blue recycle bin, and you see someone combining them, keep them they're separate for a reason, generally speaking. But Chris, I do hope that helps you there. Let's get back to your many, many emails here. Ruth, says, can a no longer functioning small kitchen appliance such as a toaster oven or a food processor be taken to the eco park?
Thank you for that question, Ruth. Absolutely. We would gladly receive that at the eco park.
Okay. Anything that does not require an appointment there?
It does not require appointment. Again, just household hazardous waste.
Okay. The hours of the eco park again?
Saturday mornings, 7:30 to 1, and Wednesday afternoons, 1 to 6:30.
All right. Reverend Jim wants to know, what about corks? You mentioned all those wine bottles. What about the corks from the wine bottles? Nicole?
Those would not be accepted for curbside recycling. I think they're a great item to reuse. I do know that there's different, all sorts of crafts and activities you can do with them. I bet that there's some local organizations that would collect them. But yeah, not in your curbside recycling bin for the corks.
Okay. And let's get Herman in Brighton on the phone. Hey, Herman, go ahead.
Hi. Walmart delivers orders in these padded paper bags, and it says that they're recyclable. And what I don't know is, are they curbside recyclable, or are they to be brought to the grocery stores just like plastic bags?
Okay. Yep. Go ahead, guys.
Great question. The paper bags can be recycled curbside. Those paper shipping bags, just the plastic bags need to be returned to retailers. So paper right in your curbside recycling.
Okay. Herman, let's see here. Does that answer that for you, Herman?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Great question. Thank you very much there. From offline here, Jane in Greece called and asked, most of the people who sort, let's see here. Oh boy. Most of the people who sort recycling and garbage at Waste Management are refugees or former refugees who are now citizens. That's an interesting.
It's been a great program for a very long time. Thank you for that observation, Jane. WM has hired a really dedicated workforce that have made great advancements right there, and very dedicated. They do a great job, and we rely on them every day.
Oh, my goodness. And I got to get Ann's comment there. So Ann called in from OSC Creations because later this year they're doing a production of the movie Christmas Story, and Ann called in to say she got my reference to the lamp that was a major award. It was Fragile. And you can see the movie on stage at OSC Creations Christmas Story later this year. Look, see, everybody's listening to you guys today. We have Mike Garland and Nicole Fornof joining us here from the Monroe County Department of Environmental Services, answering your questions on recycling. Recycling, the eco park, and questions if you're doing spring cleaning, or if you're not, if you just have general questions about things that you might regularly want to put in your blue bins, but you don't know if they can. So they're answering as many questions as we can this hour. Jerry wants to know, what about the plastic that holds 6 packs of soda or beer together? Those, I remember seeing a lot more of that. I guess we're still doing that, right? With the plastic that holds the cans
we sure
together?
are. Yep, yeah. Absolutely. Gatorade, other beverages do have those plastic, but.
Okay.
Yes, so that flexible plastic, like a 6-pack ring, that would not be recyclable. That needs to go right in your trash. There is this newer type of plastic can holder that's more of a flat plastic circle. There's like 6 circles together. My coworker calls them the bougie beer holders. Mm-hmm. And there are actually some breweries in Rochester that will actually collect them and reuse them. So you can find them online, the places that will collect and reuse that specific type of hard plastic container. Otherwise, that should not go in your curbside recycling, but there are some reuse options for that that type.
Okay, very good. Jerry, I hope that helps there. We've got some lines open now. It's 844-295-TALK, toll free, 844-295-8255. You can email the program connections@wxxi.org. Linda says, I drive through Fairport, and in the village of Fairport, the old blue open-top rectangle box-size bins are used for recyclables. But when it rains, the papers in these get wet. What happens, first of all, to these wet papers? Mike?
Yeah, we can accept wet paper at a recycling center. Of course, we prefer it dry. But if say residents bring their toter, or if they have a bit, well, toter would have a lid closed, but if they bring their bin, the paper gets wet, or if even placing in their toter somehow gets wet, it's still acceptable material.
Okay. The second of 3 points she has, she says egg cartons can be brought to the Rochester Public Market where some vendors will reuse them. Did you know that, Mike Garland?
I didn't know that, but I know
Okay.
folks, some local farmers that have chickens and they produce eggs, and they gladly keep a stock of reusable egg cartons.
Very good. And third point from Linda, she says, at work, I use metal reusable K-cups in quotes with ground coffee that I add personally to them. So I think it's a good solution there.
We appreciate their environmental stewardship.
Yeah, that's really good, Linda.
Really is.
Because not only is the K-cup not recyclable, but it's got the grounds in it, and I'm sure a lot of people are putting that in the recycling bin. So very, very good there. Yeah, and on K-cups too, we've really fired up people on K-cups. Carol says listeners can purchase reusable K-cups, use your own coffee, and eliminate the need to wish cycle or trash the single-serve K-cups. So similar to Linda, very, very good advice there. Oh, my goodness gracious. So many phone calls, too. Okay, we're getting as many as we can here. Here comes Cindy with a question. How about plastic tofu boxes? Nicole?
That's a great question. No, right now our guidelines are to recycle plastics by shape. So bottles, jars, jugs, tubs, and to-go cups. Those are the shapes of plastic that we're effectively able to sort and process and have viable end markets. So any type of plastic tray or box, you're going to want to leave that out of your recycling.
Okay. Gail sends a picture of something. She says, I've got a dead paper shredder. Can I bring it to the eco park? Should I put it in the recycle bin or in the trash? I've been told it cannot be fixed, if that makes a difference there. So, Eco Park?
Eco Park, definitely. And I like the caller's reference to taking a picture, because we're in the process of developing an app for the phone, AI-based, that you could take a picture of an item and determine if it's recyclable or not here in Monroe County. We expect to launch it in about a year. Till then, we still have our Monroe County recycling Alexa skill. That's another way that residents can get answers.
Tell people again how to do that.
So simply, if you have an Alexa device, or if you have an Alexa app on your phone at no charge, you can simply ask Alexa to open the Monroe County recycling skill. So simply ask Monroe County, open the Monroe County recycling skill, and you can ask away.
By the way, when Gail says her paper shredder, she's been told it can't be fixed, that doesn't impact whether it can go to the eco park?
That is correct. That will be recycled through our electronics portion of the eco park.
Ariel, watching on YouTube, says, shout out to the folks who run the eco park social media pages. They do an amazing job answering questions and keeping us informed.
That's 100% Nicole, right there.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much, Ariel. We appreciate that. We've had a lot of great conversations on social media lately. So, yes, definitely follow us, the Eco Park, on Facebook and Instagram, and we're happy to answer questions that way as well in the future.
And let's see here. Why don't we do this here? Why don't we get our only break of the hour now? And if you're on the phones, boy, I see the line. Got another line ringing. We're going to get as many phone calls as we can, as many emails as we can. We may set a record with Mike Garland and Nicole Fornof this hour with your questions on recycling for the Monroe County Department of Environmental Services.
Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from Bob Johnson Auto Group, believing an informed public makes for a stronger community. Proud supporter of Connections with Evan Dawson, focused on the news, issues, and trends that shape the lives of listeners in the Rochester and Finger Lakes regions. BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com.
The team from Monroe County's Department of Environmental Services is here. Mike Garland, Nicole Fornof, and a bunch of your phone calls is in the offing. But briefly, I mentioned not only do they have the new red light, green light, recycle right page that you can print right up from monroecounty.gov/recycling. Put it on your refrigerator. They also still have that magnet, which I think I have at home here.
Yeah,
Mike
we
Garland.
still have the magnet. And if folks would like a magnet for the refrigerator, just simply go to monroecounty.gov/recycling and request it. We'll mail it to you, and we'll have a letter from County Executive Adam Bello along with that magnet.
All right, very good. All right, here we go. Bill in Canandaigua next. Hey, Bill, go ahead.
Hi, I have a specific question, but first, you were talking about pill bottles. I happened to have last year 2 garbage bag size bundles of pill bottles, and I put a notice in the Genesee Valley Penny Saver. They have a free things offered column, and you can't believe how many calls I had for people saying, oh, I'll take them personally, or here's where you can take them because they send them to Africa and they can be used. So I recommend the Genesee Valley Penny Saver for getting things like that a good home. My specific question is I have a wax paper box. The wax paper is all used, but the box has a thin metal strip about 1/4 of an inch wide and about 10 inches long. Can the whole box go into the recycling bin, or should I tear off that metal strip first? But that metal strip probably has to go in the garbage, not separately into the recycling box.
Okay, Nicole?
That's a great question. So first, with Canandaigua being in Ontario County, Bill, you'll want to check with Ontario County for their guidelines. I do think that they're pretty similar on paper with us, and I would imagine that wouldn't be a problem. You could recycle it as is, but again, just double check with Ontario County and make sure.
And regarding the pill bottles, we appreciate your resourcefulness. Very creative idea. Just remember to make sure there's no residual waste at all in those or medicines in those bottles, and that any of your personal information has been removed.
Okay, Bill, good luck to you. Let's get, I think this is Lori in Chili. Go ahead, Lori.
Hi there. I have 2 things. First of all, I joined late, so if I have a bunch of pill bottles, do I need to make an appointment?
No, you don't, Lori. Bring them right to the Eco Park.
Okay. And secondly, if you are recycling the ring holders for like Gatorade or any of the sodas, make sure you cut those rings so that there isn't anything on there that is still a complete circle, because they invariably find their way out of the garbage bags and into the oceans, and they damage wildlife.
That's a great reminder, Lori, so thank you for that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Endorse that idea too, Nicole? Yeah?
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to clarify that we don't want those in curbside recycling, but I think Lori was saying cut them before you put them in the trash just in case. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, very good. Let's see. This is Alex in Monroe County next. Hey, Alex, go ahead.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. So I work with polyurethane, like I cast molds and things like this, and we put them up on buildings for architectural restoration and stuff. And I'm just curious if that's even recyclable. I know it's like, it's liquid that turns into a solid. I don't know if that could be recycled here in Monroe County or anywhere, because otherwise we're just tossing it. I don't know how bad it is for the environment. So thanks for taking my question.
Yeah, you're welcome, Alex. No, we don't have an outlet for that material if it's again solidified, but if it's a liquid waste, whether it's a business, we can accept it through our conditionally exempt small quantity generator program on Thursdays. Appointments are required, and there's a cost associated with that. But if you're a resident and you're working with materials like that in liquid form, make an appointment through monroecounty.gov Eco Park, and we can accept that at no charge as part of our household hazardous waste program.
Another Gatorade question, but not about the little rings. This is about the labels. So first of all, a Gatorade bottle, can it be recycled?
Yes, absolutely.
And this person's asking, should the plastic labels on the Gatorade bottle be pulled off before recycling?
So we are seeing more and more full body shrink sleeve labels, and I think Gatorade may even have one of those now. And those actually are an impediment to recycling. Our optical scanners in the recycling center, they use near infrared scanners, and they can't see through that label. So our guideline on those is if it has a perforated zipper on that sleeve, then you're going to want to take that off and put that in the trash before recycling. If it's a small label on the Gatorade bottle or like a soda bottle where it doesn't take up the majority of the container, that's fine to leave on. It's just this very specific type of label that we're seeing a lot on like coffee creamers, just that full from top to bottom covering on a plastic bottle.
Another great question there. All right, this is Kevin in Penfield next. Hey, Kevin, go ahead.
Hey, guys. Happy Earth Day, and thank you so much for this conversation. I had actually called in to talk about the plastic rings around the soda cans as well, to cut them up before putting in the garbage. But I also did have a question really quick about plastic bags for, like, bread and whatnot. Can those just be taken to your grocery store, or what are we supposed to do with those?
Okay, so old bread bags, plastic bags there. Yep.
Yes, absolutely, Kevin. Those can go right back to the grocery store along with your other plastic bags and wrap. On our website, you can request information flyers, and we'd be happy to send you a packet. We have a plastic bag and wrap recycling information card that shows all the types of plastic wrap that are accepted. So.
Great question. Thank you, Kevin. Mike wants to know, well, first of all, I think he's got a couple of things here. He's asking about the lids on coffee cups. So we talked about, again, if you're watching in studio, some pretty good news here. The Dunkin' cups, Starbucks cups, I see Chipotle. These plastics cups that in the past, Mike, we said no to recycling.
They were a no-go in the past. That's exactly right.
Okay, so now we are able to do them, but Mike says, what about the lids? Can the lids stay on them?
Thanks, Mike. Absolutely. Keep the lids and sleeves on them. We can accept those. It also includes, like, the McDonald's pop plastic containers too, or cups. We can accept those as well.
Should the lid be put back on, or can you put it in separate?
We recommend keeping the lid on.
Okay, put that lid right on there. And Mike says, I live in Honeyway Falls, about 20 miles south of Rochester. We know what that is, Mike. He says, my trash hauler is Dependable Disposal. Do you know if Dependable takes their recyclables to the eco park, or do they take it someplace else and therefore different recyclables are accepted by them? Do we know the answer to that one?
So as far as I know, Dependable Disposal is not a customer of Monroe County Recycling Center. So you will want to coordinate with Dependable and see what their list of acceptable items are. The vast majority of waste and recycling collection companies in Monroe County bring their materials to our recycling center. So broadly, our guidelines apply to the community. But in that specific case, you would want to reach out to your hauler.
Mike, I hope that answers that question. Thank you. Rick has two. We talked about regular batteries already, but here are his other two. He said, how about smoke detectors? Mike?
Smoke detectors have been a significant challenge. I know there are mail-back programs for smoke detectors. Sun King, who is our operator to handle all the electronics at Eco Park, is accepting, or we see those being delivered to the Eco Park for disposal. But the current status of smoke detectors is a real challenge.
Okay, and he's also asking about long life light bulbs.
Bring those to the Eco Park, and through the electronics program, if they're fluorescent, we would accept those through household hazardous waste.
All right, so we got a curveball. There you go, Rick. I hope that helps. A curveball couple from Alex here. Here we go. First one. What one thing would you like the average person to know about environmental services staff, a.k.a. the garbage men?
Oh, yes. First thing is any of the personnel that are operating, the recycling vehicles or the haulers is safety. Be very, very careful. They're working often in early hours when it's dark. It's a dangerous job. And so we just ask residents to be very, very careful when they see their haulers working in their neighborhoods.
And always get to know their names and high five them, from afar and cheer them on.
Exactly right. Cheer them on. They've got a tough job, but they're doing great work in our community.
Second one from Alex. What one thing would environmental services folks on the truck like the average person to know or do? That's a hard one. You got to choose one there, team. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I again, check with your hauler. Some folks will leave materials outside their toter, say for trash, that the hauler may pick up, but they need advance notice. So it could be a very, very large item that doesn't fit. Again, the haulers are working on a schedule. They've got a route. They want that material in the toters. If there's materials that can't fit in the toters, they should contact their hauler. All
right, Alex, there you go. Jim wants to know, is Monroe County Recycling willing to consult with my community of about 140 people. I don't see a direct contact point on the website. And so he's wondering about getting in touch there.
Absolutely, Jim. If you're in Monroe County, we gladly meet with your community. Nicole and her team have a very dedicated public outreach and education program, and we love to get out in the community and share information.
Yeah, so you can go right to our website, monroecounty.gov/recycling. You'll see a drop-down option for outreach and education, and there's an email there. You can send us an email to request a presentation or that we come to an event, and we do that all year long, and we're really happy to be part of those types of events.
There you go, Jim. All right, back to the phones we go. John in Rochester. Hello, John. Go ahead.
Hey, I've been catching bits and pieces, so I might have missed it, but I heard a gentleman a couple of minutes ago saying take metal apart and throw it away. And I know Eco Park doesn't take metal, but I collect my metal and I put it out. And if you put it out the day before garbage, the scrappers come by and pick it up, and it still gets recycled.
Thanks, John, for that question. Yeah, we do accept metal at the Eco Park. We have a scrap container there. So bring metal, whatever size it is. We will accept it. You are right, though. There are folks in the community who will take it from your curb if it's placed there.
Okay. Good stuff there, John. Thank you very much. Barbara next. Hey, Barbara, go ahead. Are you there, Barbara? Barbara might be listening through the radio instead of the phone. I'm going to try to get Barbara's question because I know she wanted to know in general about magazines and flyers. So magazines, flyers, Nicole?
Yeah, absolutely. Right in your recycle bin. If you have a bigger catalog, it's best if you can rip that into smaller sections. We're talking about something really large here. Your average magazine, junk mail, that can go right into your recycling bin.
Okay. Barbara, let us know if that's what you needed there. I hope that gives you the answer you're looking for. Lots of Jims today. We got 2 Jims on the line, 3 Jims on the email. Another Jim wanted to know about potato chip bags. Mike, Nicole, potato chip bags.
Those would be a no. They're a multi-layer, usually a foil and a plastic liner together. And again, you could look for some take-back programs. There are some companies out there that might offer a special recycling service, maybe a paid service for that. But in general, that would be trash.
Okay. Jim number 3, hope that helps. Jim number 4 says, I separate my paper into 3 piles: newspaper, computer paper, and glossy paper. Is there a problem with tying these bundles before putting them into the recycling toter?
Well, thank you for that question, Jim. Please don't tie. No need to tie the bundles. They can be commingled. All that paper can be commingled. We'll sort that out. We've got the technology to be able to sort that out. Again, we don't want materials in bags, plastic bags, or tied up. Some folks will take a shredded paper from home and put it in a paper bag. That's perfectly acceptable.
Okay. Thank you, Jim number 4. Here's Bernie who says, how about salt for snow and ice? A salt bag stored in the garage, and over time, the salt in that bag got rock hard. How can I get rid of or recycle it?
Well, certainly not at the curbside.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have received salt at our at the Eco Park through household hazardous waste.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that either.
Yeah.
We will look into that.
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that one. That's a great question.
Bernie, you don't know how hard it is to stump these guys.
Yeah.
Like, they are unbelievable.
Yeah.
And a rock-hard bag of old salt for winter snow and ice removal, you're going to have to check into that.
I think the short answer is we would accept it at the Eco Park because we take a wide variety of chemicals there, whether they're fertilizers, whether they're soaps, detergents. So my guess is it's chemical-based, and we'll get back to you on that, but good question.
Okay, yeah. So probably yes at the Eco Park.
Exactly.
Okay. Rachel is on the phone next. Hey, Rachel, go ahead.
Hi, driving with my Bluetooth, and my apologies. I go back and forth between Canandaigua and Monroe County, and so some of the stuff I can recycle in Ontario County isn't accepted here. But I did want to point out there's a group, it does cost money. It's a company called Ridwell, and for a fee, they send you these big bags, so all the multi-layer plastic that is not generally acceptable otherwise, you can send it to them. The bag holds a ton, and it's labeled. So once you fill it up with all those annoying little wrappers that you can't stick your thumb through, because Ontario County takes that kind of plastic, it's a great program. It's not free, but it is a good option. And on the Monroe County side, my neighbors in the city are really bad at recycling, and I've been trying to get the environmental services people to send them some information. So I sent a note a couple of times because they're putting soft foam in their blue bin. And that's my comment.
Okay, Rachel, thanks, guys.
Yep, thanks, Rachel.
There? Anything you want to add there, Mike?
Well, again, our job is to try to make recycling as easy and convenient as possible for residents. Again, at monroecounty.gov/recycling, there's a whole lot of information. Again, we hope when our recycling app comes out that it will be helpful for residents so that we can minimize contamination.
Kim writes in to say, I love the recycling team. What about the metal can lids, such as small cat food lids? I've been putting the lids back in the can and squishing the can a bit so the lid is trapped inside.
Yes, that is our exact pro recycler tip for that specific material. So awesome job. Just put that lid back in, crimp the sides a little bit. That'll help hold it in, and then they can be recycled together.
Way to go, Kim. Very good there. Carol writes in to ask, are the bags inside cereal and cracker boxes considered paper or plastic? I would assume plastic on that one. Is that right?
Yeah, try that rule of thumb on it. Put your thumb through it. If it stretches, that is the type of plastic bag that can be returned to the grocery store. Usually cereal and cracker box liners, those are plastic that are accepted.
They are accepted, huh? Some of those, I got strong thumbs.
Yeah, if you tear it and it feels more like paper,
Okay.
Yep. That's right.
Carol, that's a really good common question. Thank you. Kate in Irondequoit has recycling quandaries. Says, please address the changes to shredded paper. Then she says, bagged and labeled in a paper bag. It is no longer accepted in curbside recycling per my newest garbage hauler. That's Dependable Disposing. It now must go to the Eco Park for recycling. Is that right?
If their hauler is dependable, and those are that's their rule, obviously we'd encourage residents to abide by that rule or end up in residual waste. We can certainly accept it at the Eco Park.
Okay. And Kate says, waxed cardboard is no longer recyclable. Does that include any laminated items, such as political flyers and the many other ads that we receive in the mail?
Any type of flyer would be acceptable for curbside recycling. And we accept all type of paperboard. We don't have any stipulations on a coating.
So those glossy political flyers can go right in the recycling?
Sure can. Yep. They tear. Yep.
Kate, that reminds me of the old Mitch Hedberg joke when it says, someone handed me a flyer one day, and it was like they were saying, here, you throw this away. Well, now you can put it in the recycling. There you go. I think we're close to getting to, I've got a question on paint. So paint cans in the garage for spring cleaning. Where can paint cans go for recycling? Nicole? Mike?
Sure. So a couple locations. We will accept them at the Eco Park with our weekly collections. We also have a number of mobile household hazardous waste collections coming up throughout the summer months at different communities throughout the county. There is also a program, extended producer responsibility program called Paint Care that makes permanent drop-off sites available for paint. So stores like Sherwin-Williams, Ace Hardware, they will accept paint without an appointment. You can bring it in anytime and drop it off to them there. So there's a couple of options for paint.
Even if it's pretty old paint?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, good.
Yep. Paint Care will take paint in any form, liquid or hardened. At Eco Park, we request that it's more than a third full, the can, and we say if it's hardened, if it's already hard, leave the lid off, put it in your trash.
Awesome. Very, very good stuff. I know that's a very common one.
It is.
Patrick's got a number here. He wants to know about plastic sleds, like kids' sleds for in the snow.
Yeah, those would fall into the category of bulky plastics. Kids' toys, relatively large kids' toys can all go to the Eco Park in our bulky plastic container.
Okay. He's asking about plastic containers that plants come in from a store like Home Depot.
That we would not want curbside. Again, we stick to our plastic shapes, our bottles, jars, jugs, tubs, and cups. So a plant container, a lot of times they're black too. Black plastic is not something that has a viable end market. It can't be sorted properly. So any type of plant pot, don't put in your curbside recycling. There are multiple organizations that will accept them for reuse. I think some of the farmers markets, Cornell Cooperative Extension. So especially this time of year, you will probably be able to find some organizations that can reuse those plant pots.
And just curious, you mentioned the end market with the black plastic. Is it because once it's a black color, it can't be recolored? I mean, like it's black?
Yes,
Okay.
That's exactly right, Evan. So plastics, they're the most valuable types of plastics are called natural without any pigment because they can be remade into any color plastic. If you have a colored plastic, it can pretty much just only be made into black plastic. So once you have black plastic, there's not a lot of value to it. It can't be made into any other type of material.
Okay, he's asking about home laundry baskets, old laundry baskets.
Bulky plastic.
Bulky plastic. And he missed it earlier. Are you guys doing better with glass, he wants to know?
We're doing so well with glass. Again, we recycled 100% of the glass we received at the recycling center last year, and that's a big change for us. And we think Monroe County is leading the way in getting what we call MRF glass back into the recycling commodity stream.
All right, Lori, I'm going to read your whole email here. I'm going to start with the second part first. She says she's a big fan of Connections. It's been a big part of getting to know so much about this community with the friendliness we've been pleased to find here. First of all, I'm glad to hear that, Lori. However long you've been here, I hope it's been a great experience. And we have a wonderful NPR member station here with a great community of support. Now, here's a good question from Lori. She says, does the Eco Park do tours for local schools? I find it so interesting, and I'm new to the area. I really appreciate the Eco Park and the information that you share for adults. I've been recycling for several decades, and is just wondering, how about kids and school tours?
Well, Nicole and I were just chatting about that.
Yeah, so sometimes we will, typically more for some older students, I think for safety reasons.
That's right.
So you can reach out to us through our website. We have an email there under our outreach and education, and we'll figure out if it's the right fit. But otherwise, I highly recommend we have an Eco Park video tour on our website, and that kind of walks you through the facility and shows you what it's like.
Lori, good luck. Thank you very much. Thanks for reaching out. Down to our last 30 seconds, Mike. So I really do think the both of you have set the record for feedback, questions answered. We've packed the hour. What did we miss, Mike?
I just want to give a shout out about our vape and e-cigarette take back. It's a big program for us. We're just seeing the volumes increase exponentially. They're a real hazard in our environment, so there's e-cigarettes and vapes, and we are part of a program right now, a pilot program across New York State through the Product Stewardship Institute and the Center for Sustainable Materials Management, through SUNY ESF, about a pilot program across the state because they see the value in getting those materials out of the waste stream.
So what am I doing with my vapes? I don't have any vapes, but if
Eco
I did,
Park. Eco Park, no cost.
Eco Park for vape. Oh,
for residents.
And a question on leaves. Can leaves go in your garbage toter?
Leaves are not accepted in the garbage toter.
That's the wrong answer, Mike.
Yeah. No, leaves,
okay,
we want to
right
find a way to
answer.
compost, though. Yes, please.
You know how early the snow came last year, man? There's still leaves in the yard. What a great hour with Mike Garland, Director of the Monroe County Department of Environmental Services. Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day to you, Evan.
Thank you very much. And Nicole Fornof, Waste Diversion and Education Coordinator. Happy Earth Day. Thank you very, very much.
Happy Earth Day. Thank you so much.
MonroeCounty.gov/recycling. Wonderful questions from the audience. From the whole team at Connections, thanks for being with us. We're back with you tomorrow on member-supported public media.
This program is a production of WXXI Public Radio. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of this station, its staff, management, or underwriters. The broadcast is meant for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or use in another medium without expressed written consent of WXXI is strictly prohibited. Connections with Evan Dawson is available as a podcast. Just click on the Connections link at WXXInews.org.